Well, hello, hello, hello. My name is Sarah, and this is Pearls of Wisdom in Food with Clean Intermittent Fasting, and then that feast of an OMAD. Hope you're all doing well today. It's a good day. It's like spring. It's been sunny and in the 40s and sometimes 50s for like 3 days in a row. But I guess we have some storms coming, so oh well. But it was nice. It was warm. Well, here we are again. It's a Friday and we're doing what we do. Some of you follow what I do, some of you do your own thing, but the point is to just believe in yourself. When I how many of us women, right, in the Northeast, Canada, and the United States, how many of us followed somebody else's food plan and expected their results? And, what's always to believe about other people's results? And check in with them a year or two later. Sometimes it's not as successful as your own plan for what works just for you. We're all different. Some of us can do carnivore. Some of us have found keto and will never ever stray. Others of us rely on our Weight Watcher points. And we've been doing it and it continues to work and we stay in maintenance and we can go to the meetings for nothing. That's not me. But what I follow is when I found the clean intermittent fast, it was like, wow, this is it for me. And it continues to be it for me. I weigh now what I weighed in the third grade, which was not an admirable place to be when I was in the third grade. Oh my. So anyway, here we are. I had my annual physical yesterday and I had the labs done. And she congratulated me on my cholesterol lowering to 257. At one point it was in the 450s. And I loved meat and I loved the fat on meat and I ate a lot of meat and I didn't weigh what I weighed a day. Who knew? So it's taken me this long. I'm 73. So I found that my body likes good healthy fats like butter, like ghee, like avocado oil, like extra virgin oil, olive oil, and macadamia nut oil after all these years, and a lot of carbohydrate vegetables after trying to find the perfect thing. And I like to feel full, not stuffed, but full. And because I do a fast that's 22 to 23 hours, then I want to have something that's going to take me the distance. I kind of look at, for me, I mean, I'm not a scientist or a nutritionist, but I look at the fats and the carbs that I have, like say a sweet potato with butter, or my big salad with all the cruciferous, crunchy things that I put in it with the extra virgin olive oil. I look at, say, those two things as the fuel to get me to those next 22 to 23 hours before I have another meal. And it seems to be working for me. Always a work in progress. And I would say that probably if you're doing what you're doing, you probably are a work in progress too. Things that I always thought that I would have or never do without have left or have I've embraced. And it's always kind of amazing to me. I love veggies. So anyway, I had this adorable I have a nurse practitioner and she came in after the initial appointment, but I sat with a nurse practitioner who yesterday was her end of her internship at that health facility. And she was like now going to be on her way and ready to be a nurse practitioner. Young, tiny, adorable. And it's great because I was identifying with her and her with me, and we probably have 50 years between us. Um, So I could be easily her grandmother. And what a sweet woman. And she loves her carbs too. She said she was a vegan. And then, now she has some eggs. Um, she has a lot of veggies. She likes them. She's not afraid of eggs. She has a lot of fish. And she does not. Um, what was I going to say about does not? Anyway, she likes sugar, and she tries to have it like through dates and honey and things like that. But sometimes she just has to have a cookie. So I really identified with her and her with me. And it was just really, really nice to see her. She, glowing skin, beautiful teeth, all the best to her is what I say. But it was just nice talking food with her. And she said, "I'm going to get in trouble." I usually don't. I could talk to you all day, and it's like I could talk to her all day. It was just nice identifying face to face with somebody that has the same beliefs, and she loves her veg. And I will tell you, one of the things that I notice about liking more vegetables is that there's a lot more that goes into a food prep. It's not like slam bam, thank you, ma'am. I don't like open a bag of salad and add some bottled dressing with canola oil and call it a day. It's not like that. So there's more expense, and then there's more time that it takes. Like, for example, just now I roasted some Brussels sprouts in avocado oil. Not a lot of oil, probably a half a tablespoon, a little pink Himalayan salt in the toaster oven at like well, I did it partially at 350, partially at 325 for like 20 minutes. And it's all the crispies are there, and everything looks coated in the oil. And like, what's not to love about something like that? I love Brussels sprouts. Um, but it does take time, because yesterday I washed them because I assume that they're, pesticidey. And so then I dry them out overnight, so I'm not cooking them watery. And anyway, as you know, some things take a while. So my veggie consumption has changed for sure. I like to feel full, like I say, and some things I can have without a butter or an oil, but most of the things get a little something something added to it. And I really do enjoy how I eat now. It carries me. And isn't that the deal? I mean, don't you like to feel full and not craving something? I mean, when I crave a sweet at the end of the meal, right now I'm working on some cut melon, and I add the organic strawberries to it. I've got some grapes that I could add to it as well. Golden Delicious apple is always there on the reserve. I love dried apricots. I can have two of those with maybe some Jessica's granola as a dessert. I mean, we're talking a little dish of it. And it holds me, and it carries me, and it satiates me. When I think of satiate, I think that something has had an oil or butter on it, and it's going to carry me with like a coated fuel, like a sweet potato, or even a baked potato, or a butternut squash. Although a baked sweet potato and a butternut squash, I don't really need anything on it. Another thing that I've been doing is the person that I like to listen to that is vegan, but he has a lot of great hacks and tips. I think it was him. I've added a half of a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon, not Saigon cinnamon. He says that has a chemical in it that's not going to do this. The Ceylon cinnamon, he said, boosts and revs up your metabolism. So I'm giving it a shot. I ordered it at Simply Organic. It was $6, for the typical spice jar bottle. Couldn't find it in the stores, so I got it through Amazon, because Ceylon cinnamon is different than the Saigon. The Saigon's cheaper, so you'll find that more in the retail grocery stores. And so Ceylon, and I've got a little half a teaspoon measuring thing, and I have that. I just plop it on my tongue right when I'm having my supplements at the end of the meal. Just works. don't know. I just like it. So when she was doing my lab, she congratulated me on my cholesterol. And I don't know if you've been with me for years, but I'm not as scared of the higher cholesterol. I've always said no to statins, and I believe that cholesterol is something that your body likes, especially your brain, and I think your body likes fats, the healthy ones. Like I said, the butter, the avocado oil, the macadamia nut oil, the extra virgin olive oil, and did I name them all? Oh, butter and ghee. And so I buy high quality butter. I've got the good ghee. I think it's, oh, I can't think of the name of it right now. An old brain. Maybe I should go have some more oil. So when I say I practice clean intermittent fasting, it really was the miracle part of my food plan for me, a foodie that likes to feel full at the end of my OMAD and not have the need or the desire or the craving to have snacks before bed or to eat something during the day before I sit down to my OMAD. I've been doing it so long, it's my normal. I can't remember when I ate, 3 squares and three snacks, like how the Weight Watchers plan was created. So it just continues to work for me. She called me tiny, and I laughed because people just I was always overweight. I was always chunky. And so for somebody to think that I'm tiny, it kind of makes me giggle because I don't feel tiny. I still look in the mirror and I see the size 14, 16, 175-pound woman. It's just that she's now 73 and not 23. But okay, I'll take it. I don't feel that way, but maybe because obesity is so alarming in the United States that maybe being overweight or obese is just it's become normalized. Not that it's become a healthy way, but it's become normalized. And do you understand the difference? I understand the difference. We've just gotten used to seeing larger people and accepting that. But I think that when you get to be like our age, which is, over 50, 60, or 70, that's when everything comes home to roost, as we find out. And so more and more, I hear, I see, I talk to people that have health issues. They didn't start yesterday. They start when we're younger and we begin to make choices and we have habits, and I'll give up anything, but I won't give up that. And a lot of that, it's kind of funny, but a lot of that does circle around our intake of coffee because so many of us have relied on coffee and we think that it's a better bad choice. BBCs, I've always been a big fan of BBCs. And so we always think that as long as I can have coffee my way, and I was huge on having it my way. And my way I did. And there were times when I was having, it was when keto first started out with the high fat, low carb, loaded coffees. I mean, heavy cream, butter, um, MCT oil, all those things that like we talked about and we had. But for a lot of people, and I can see it when I shop for others and I get to that dairy section. I work in a small store. It's Shaw's, Star Market, Safeway, Albertsons. It's a member of that family. But it's a very small niche store. And I love it. Our landlord is Stop and Shop, so that's kind of funny. But I love it because we don't have a lot of everything. And so a lot of times when a new product comes on the market, we don't have space for it because it's just that size of a market. But I will tell you, the coffee creamer section is like unbelievable. And if you're still doing your coffee creamers, you know what I mean because they come out with a new flavor. Oh, there's a space for that. It must be a very high end sort of item. And so when I get there, and you've got those kind of like, you can see where the sections of the refrigerator are kind of separated. They're probably what 6 feet long. And in there, the coffee mates, the internationals, the store brand, the all the different creams like the half and half and the fat-free half and half and the heavy cream and the light cream and then you get to the coffee mate and the new flavors are unbelievable. I can't believe how much space it takes up. So they must be very high end. And of course the sugar is loaded in there. And of course I was a big devotee of coffee mate. I loved the Italian sweet cream. And if you are a fan of that, you know what I mean. There's just something about it. It was my favorite. But giving up all of those things, but I can see how America holds on to that. Same thing with the sweeteners. A lot of people have monk fruit sweetener, agave sweetener, the natural sweetener, the pure cane. Oh, I don't know. You see them. And if you stand there at your sugar section, it's not cane sugar. There's just a lot of added sugar varieties that we now have. And so for a lot of people, their coffee cup is blessed. And they have it the way they want it because they're hammered the rest of the time with the shoulds. And all of us that are probably female and grew up here, we know about the shoulds. You should have this, you shouldn't have that. And it's funny listening to a nutritionist and you should have this, you should have that. And it's probably a 4,000 calorie day by the time you get done with their shoulds, right? Oy vey! So a lot of a lot of the coffee is sacred for a lot of people. That's what I'm getting at. But if you're doing a clean intermittent fast, it can keep the clean out of the intermittent fast, right? So it was sweet pea. So it was very important to me to get to the to the sweet pea, to get to the black, please, just black, please, coffee space. And it did take 6 months. It's not an easy thing. Was it easier than giving up smoking? No. I think that the coffee was one of the last frontier treats to have. And so it was a while before I could give it up. And then as I've said here, oftentimes I gave it up, and now I'm just black and strong, and I have my own grinder, and I do a French press for my coffee. And I've switched a lot of things up over the years, but that's how I have it now. I don't know if I gave up the sweet part first or the creamer part first, but over the years I've had so many different versions of what works for me. But I will tell you that getting to black has just made it enormously easier and satisfying. Well, that's crazy. But with the fresh ground and the French press, it really has elevated itself to like a little event where I feel like a grown up. And this is very, very tiny. I think it's 2 3/4 ounces. It's Villeroy and Bach, little snobby little cup, and I love it. And so I have a number of those, and then I have a glass jar that I bring. It's to hold liquids, and I pour my coffee from the French press into it, and I bring it to work. And so it's a strong. Right now, I'm working on Starbucks French roast, and I love it. It took a while, like I said, but now I can enjoy a cup of coffee like I used to enjoy maybe a pastry. I don't know. It's just, I can totally enjoy it just the way that I like it. But the black part keeps me in the clean part of the intermittent fast, which to me is the secret sauce of the success of staying at the weight that I've stayed at. And so I'm not going to change it because it's now working. And I never thought I could get to this place. I remember being a young woman, and a young woman like with me that I worked with or something would drink black coffee, and it's like, how did you ever get to that? You're young. How did it always seemed like such an odd thing, like old people did it, right? So I am delighted with it. My veggie heavy meals. Yes, I allow treats. Yes, I allow breads at time or an English muffin, something like that. But when I think of what I'm like in the morning, I go to work at 6 in the morning, fully fasted, clean fasted with just the black coffee, and I go to work and I'll start thinking about what I'm going to have for lunch. Now, I've always planned what I'm going to have for lunch, but it is subject to change if there was something that just screamed out at me. And it's so funny, my head goes to the meat department, to those wonderful grass-fed steaks that I used to enjoy, the whole thing. Load me up. And now I have some in my freezer, but I cut it so it's either I have it in 2 days or 3 days with my veggies on the side. And it's just such a difference. But I feel so comfortable with it now. And I don't know if it's because I'm aging and that this is just what my body likes, or if it's just a naturally evolving thing that happens where the veggies become more important. Fruits, yes. Do I have them every day? No. What am I having today? Well, I bought a bowl of cut up melons, so I'm having that with my organic strawberries for dessert. But it's a very tiny bowl. It's like 2 things of cantaloupe, 1 thing of honeydew, 2 things of watermelon, 2 organic strawberries. And if I'm still kind of hungry from what I've planned for my OMAD, I will add some yogurt to it, Greek goddess plain yogurt that I did with my show and tell last week. But it all just continues to work, and so it's I like feeding. It's just I'm feeding myself, so I don't have to please other people. And since Greg passed and I now just cook for myself, it is amazing. Maybe that has something to do with it too, is that I can just please my own taste buds and not have to, sit there and feel like I'm weird because I like that and I like that and I like that. And it's like, but where's that? I don't know. So it's not there anymore because I don't have to cook it. And so I love it. It's fun. I hope you find your nirvana, your sweet spot of what works, because that's what matters. And so I hope that you share down below if you're doing something different, if you gave something up recently, or you don't have something that you did have all the time and you're amazed that like you can do without it and it benefits you. I want to hear. I think it's great finding that place that works for you. And I just love clean intermittent fasting with the OMAD. It just works for me. I'm a foodie, but I can fit it all into what I'm going to have. And then I purr like a kitten in the afternoon as it's legs up and videos or the news or something. I just like to kind of have a couple of hours of chill time in the afternoon. In the mornings, I get up early. I do my video like this, but I also have my educational time, and I'll put on a YouTube video where somebody talks health, nutrition. Sometimes they talk about something the way that I don't eat, and then it's fascinating to see how they do it. I just love people that have enthusiasm for their food plan because they found things that work, and they don't have to answer to the you shoulds, right? That's where we want to be, where you eat what you want, when you want, because you want to, and not because they said, she said, you should. Gone are those days. That ship sailed. I'm 73. I'm a grown-up. I can make my own choices. Amazing. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you had your cuppa. I know that I had my cuppa, and I will see you here next week. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Sarah with Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Clean Intermittent Fasting and OMAD. That's my way. What's yours? Bye-bye for now.